Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Later Than 8, titled Alone in the Dark. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on Music B. Apparently the single is actually being released on June the 12th to all digital streaming platforms, so this review is actually going out on that date. So if you're watching this and you enjoy the track and you want to hear it without me pausing occasionally, please do go check out his various social medias to go see that. There'll be links in the description to that of this video, but apparently it features composer and frontman Justice Turner, and it also features James Sight, who provided rapping in the verses. So that's cool. We got ourselves some collaborations going on there, some teamwork, and we're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Phenomenally atmospheric immediately. Some incredible music that I've reviewed today, man. Despondent percussive samples with this huge wall of sound with the
Meditated on my thoughts, I finally can see now. Caught between reality and dreams. Searching for a message in the past while staying focused on the future. Trying to work out the things that made me me. Even though it hurts, I'm finding answers in the dark. I had a lot of match and opened my eyes, now I can see. I found them out and I fixed up the cracks, that wasn't me. Now the vessel's in condition to sail the seven seas. If you get what I mean, they say good things happen to the ones who wait. For my morals, never had it contemplate. Even though I've swam to the depths, I stay blessed for the food on my plate with a smile on my face. I feel the energy is changing. Universe could bless me any day, it be shaping me and how I'm feeling in my brain. Got the vine in my blood, make sure none of it is wasted.
holy shit, this is wild, man. I want to pause. I know I've probably stopped through the chorus, and I'm sorry, but this is easily one of those tracks where I could just sit there dumbfounded at what's going on for the entire time. What I love about this is just how there is absolutely no filler. There are no gaps to really pause it. There's constant transfers between sections. The tones and textures of the different synth elements, the guitars, the industrial overbite, the bass, the drums, the fizziness of it, the really kind of compressed, controlled rapping parts that have a great flow to them and notch really well with the rest of the. And then you've just got this hook section where they go really hard on the tuning, the stylization of the vocal. It's so cool. It's such cool stuff. I haven't really listened to much music like this, but I adore it, you know? We're gonna have
found myself when I was living in the dark, swimming dangerous waters, but it's fun cause I'm a shark. Asking questions as I look into the sky, about its distance, what's my place, just so much silence, asking why. Good things will come from the pain, but make sure that you focus and don't go insane. Find some shelter in rain and some peace from the change, cause this life's never stable, but don't feel no shame about the person that you are, cause the energy goes far. When you look into the dark, if you stay, you'll find a star. You're a vessel for your message, press the gas inside the car. You can tell your story, make it visible, the rich scars. Feel the energy inside of you, never hide away from all the light you got is right for you. Every day's a new one, you could overcome the obstacles. No doubt, no pain, no fear, you got your body as an arsenal. Found myself when I was living in the dark.
I mean, like, if you're gonna go hard with the kind of meta-tune stylized vocals for the hooks, just go like that. Have a go da 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 da. You know, like have it more of an instrument as well as a voice. But the inspirational message in the verse, trying to find that light in the dark, just trying to let someone know that they're enough and that they can get through it. I think because of the actual darkness of the tone of the music, the theme here, it makes it more believable. sometimes you get music and it's like they kind of go, they don't really go 100% on the backing. And so you've just got someone kind of calmly saying, you can do it, it'll be okay. Butterflies and daffodils, but the ferocity of this music, with the screaming in the hook, with just how much it's festering, with this synthetic madness is just divine. I love it. It's so cool, man. This is awesome, man. I adore it. I'm so enamored with this track, man. It's wonderful. Like, let's talk about it. Real talk. This is the conclusion of my review of this track from Later Than 8. The song titled Alone in the Dark. I'm blown away by it. I don't usually get this excited by a track. I've been reviewing music for 2 to 3 years, and this song is a breath of fresh air to me for so many different reasons. I'm going to try and articulate within a reasonable time frame within this review so that it doesn't go for ages, because again, I just want this to be meaningful to people and to appreciate it, because I want people to appreciate this music as much as I do. And I mean that genuinely. It's like the story is wholesome, inspirational, but it's not cheesy. I've heard a lot of songs where it's like, you can do it, you can get through this, find the light, etc. And on their own, those lines are like, yeah, I get it. You know, I've heard it 1,000 times. But the everything is so strong within this, and it's such a breath of fresh air overall, that I have time for it, because you can tell they're putting effort into getting everything to where it needs to be in order for any contradictions to be justified within the various elements there. Like, it's so heavy sounding, and for the story to come through in a track which is so ferocious, it's wonderful. I think it's a really great concept. It's fascinating, and it hooked me from the start, man. The vocals are tremendous. I love the rapping there. I think that the approach, I think it is from James Sight in the verse parts with that, you know, like, I got more of the second in, because I was just like, wow, there was a lot taken in that first verse. I was listening, but I was also kind of absorbing all of it, because, to be fair, that everything is a little bit overwhelming in this track. There's a lot to appreciate, and it's not a bad thing. But especially in the second verse, I started really tuning in once I was a bit more familiar with the theme and the backing elements in the arrangement. And it was just tremendous to hear the story. Like, there was more to it than that, just accepting yourself and, like, self-care and all that kind of stuff. It was wonderful, and it seemed genuine. It was a believable performance with clear flow. The guy was a competent rapper telling a story that I think everyone can kind of vibe with. And just the contrast between, you know, James and then Justice in the verse and the chorus parts, with like the tuning on that voice, like almost like a synth section, but like a storytelling device there. The alone in the dark, you know, like, it's a catchy as hell, like, hook line that's elevated by the way it was processed and the way everything else kind of comes together in the mix. It's tremendous. Just the contrast between those vocalists, different tones and textures and timbres. And then how they came together in the end for that outro hook was wonderful. They had a call and response there, so clearly I understand the fundamentals of music theory and composition. But I can't ask for more than that. It's so engaging and interesting. And I think that the story matched well with the vocal styles, both of them. And it was good. Really good. I think the track at 4 minutes, there's no filler in here whatsoever. I mean, like, there's just so much going on with all the different synth layers, the guitars, the bass, the drums, the pads, any other sort of sequencer, art parts going on. It's ludicrous how much they managed to stack into this in a way that was still meaningful. There were even new elements that I heard before that, when they were put in a slightly different part of the lyric section, were like more meaningful for some reason, and they were like beautiful. They were beautiful textures as well. Like, the overall, there was a snarky nature to some of those kind of rougher sort of synth parts, but then there were these wonderful, almost heavenly, incredible sounding synth parts that elevated you up at the same time. It was a war of two worlds, but it just kind of made sense in the end. And I think that in addition to like the guitars, which were not the dominant part of the rhythm section, and I love that they were more of a thing in the melting pot, with the bass thundering down below, and the industrial sort of drums with those wonderful like texture, tones to those different snare and cymbal parts. It's exquisite, and there were such interesting tones chosen, but also the performance in general was wonderful. I don't think there was a note out of place. It had a great amalgamation, like a great chemistry, should I say, between the various elements of the arrangement and composition. And, even though everything was very squished together, I think by design, basically what happened was that wasn't an issue because it was meant to be suffocating, like the darkness was surrounding you, but the guy was inspiring you to find a light. And I think that severity in the theme matched the situation the guy was talking to you and that you were in, made it more believable, and made you want to believe in that hope even more and to find that light. So tremendous. And it was a wonderful theme that matched the story, and the vocals very well thought out. Like A+ for me at this point. And then coming into the studio production, where there are not many styles of music where the suffocation of the compression and limiting, like pushing it volume wise, would work, but it does here. I think that it's well thought out. It's a risk, it's a ballsy risk, but they managed to pay it off. It paid off, should I say. And the vocals were present in the mix. It would have been difficult to get them to be present, not just from processing them from effects and EQing perspective, but also get them to just sit and slide in with everything else. Because there wasn't a lot of dynamic range in this. And that's okay because of the way the story was told. It was meant to kind of be relevant to that with the theme. So I get it. It makes sense. This is why it's good to look at a track as a whole rather than individual components, because then things start to connect and you can join the dots, and it's better, because that's what makes a song a great track. But yeah, the vocals were present. You could hear everything clearly there. I love the use of different effects changes and stuff on the hook vocals especially, but also just we have a clear understanding. We have a lot of tools in our toolbox when it comes to music production and studio engineering and stuff by the sounds of all the various parts in the track. How everything was sort of squeezed together. Things were notched well on the frequency spectrum. There was lots of interesting stuff going on in the stereo field there as well. It was nice and wide. It surrounded you. Not a lot of dynamic range, but again made sense with the theme. And it was nice and loud. Even if it pumped a little bit, it made sense, and it was heavy as hell, and I enjoyed it. And this is my review, my really positive conclusion of one of my favorite tracks of 2023. From Later Than 8, Alone in the Dark. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check out their various social medias. And just as a gentle reminder, this is coming out on all digital stream platforms on June the 12th. I'm not saying this because I feel like I have to. I'm saying it because I want you to go enjoy it for yourselves. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.